What happens when a melody can change reality? On a distant planet, amidst a festival of alien cultures, a young Earth composer discovers an otherworldly voice, a voice so powerful it bends matter itself. Together, they create music capable of uniting entire civilizations, but at what cost? Their bond defies the laws of her society, sparking a journey of love, rebellion, and harmony across the stars. Will their song bring peace or chaos to the galaxy? Stay until the end to uncover the truth, and don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling sci-fi tales. The starship descended into the kaleidoscopic sky of Lysera 7, its hull shimmering as if painted by the auroras above. Inside, Ethan nervously adjusted his jacket, clutching the case containing his most prized possession, a custom-built synthesizer infused with quantum resonance technology. He had spent years perfecting it, dreaming of this moment, the Interstellar Harmony Festival, where musicians from countless worlds gathered to share their art. But nothing could have prepared him for what awaited. As the ship docked, he stepped onto the platform, greeted by a cacophony of sounds unlike anything he'd ever heard. Alien instruments hummed, clicked, and pulsed in rhythms both chaotic and hypnotic. Brightly colored beings moved gracefully between stages, their forms ranging from crystalline exoskeletons to amorphous clouds of sentient energy. Among them, one figure stood out, a tall, slender being with translucent skin that refracted light like a prism. Her name was Silra, and though Ethan didn't know it yet, she would change everything. Ethan wandered through the bustling festival grounds, taking in the sights and sounds. There were creatures with elongated limbs playing instruments that seemed alive, shifting shapes as they were played. Others emitted melodies directly from their bodies, resonating with the environment around them. It was overwhelming but exhilarating, a sensory overload that made Ethan feel both insignificant and inspired. He couldn't help but wonder how his own music would compare to these alien masterpieces. Would it resonate with beings whose very biology was attuned to sound in ways humans could scarcely comprehend? As he meandered, Ethan found himself drawn to a central stage where performers were gathering for the opening ceremony. That's when he saw her again, Silra. She stood apart from the others, her presence commanding yet serene. Her attire shimmered with colors that shifted unpredictably, as though reflecting the emotions of those around her. When she finally took the stage, the crowd hushed in anticipation. Silra opened her mouth, and the first note sent a shiver down Ethan's spine. It wasn't just a sound, it was a force, tangible and alive. The air vibrated, and nearby objects responded, dancing to her rhythm. Ethan felt his heart race, not just from awe but from a deep, inexplicable connection to her voice. By the time she finished, he knew he had to meet her. After the performance, Ethan hesitated, unsure how to approach someone so otherworldly. But curiosity got the better of him, and he pushed through the throng of admirers surrounding Silra. "Excuse me," he said, his voice barely audible over the chatter. Silra turned, her luminous eyes locking onto his. For a moment, Ethan forgot how to speak. "Your voice," he managed finally. "It's incredible." Silra tilted her head, studying him with an expression he couldn't decipher. "You're not from here," she said finally, her tone neither accusing nor welcoming. "No," Ethan admitted. "I'm from Earth. I compose music there." A flicker of interest crossed her face. "Show me." Ethan hesitated but opened his synthesizer case. Fingers trembling slightly, he began to play. The notes flowed softly at first, tentative and unsure, but soon gained confidence. Silra listened intently, her gaze unwavering. When he finished, silence lingered before she spoke. "Interesting. Your music is linear, structured. Ours is fluid, adaptive." She extended a hand toward the instrument. "May I?" Surprised, Ethan nodded. Silra placed her fingers on the keys, and the room transformed. Notes morphed into tangible shapes, glowing orbs of sound that danced around them. Ethan gasped. "How are you doing that?" "My people," she explained, "are born with the ability to manipulate resonance fields. Our voices shape matter, Our songs alter reality. For hours, they experimented together, blending his compositions with her abilities. By the time they parted ways, something unspoken had sparked between them, a connection neither fully understood, but both felt deeply. Over the next few days, Ethan and Silra became inseparable. Each session pushed their collaboration further, merging human emotion with alien precision. One evening, under twin moons casting silver light over the festival grounds, they created something extraordinary. Ethan composed a melody inspired by Earth's oceans, while Silra wove harmonies reminiscent of Lycera Seven's eternal storms. The result was breathtaking, a symphony that seemed alive, weaving listeners into a shared emotional tapestry. Beings who moments earlier had argued now embraced, tears streaming down unfamiliar faces. Even the flora responded, petals blooming in syncopation with the rhythm. Word spread quickly. Crowds gathered, awestruck by the pair's synergy. Yet amid the acclaim, unease simmered. Whispers reached Ethan's ears, rumors of disapproval from Silra's elders. He shrugged them off, unwilling to let doubt taint their success. Little did he know, trouble loomed closer than he realized. Their rehearsals became a sanctuary, a place where they could escape the growing tension outside. Ethan marveled at Silra's ability to infuse her voice with raw emotion, turning simple notes into something transcendent. In return, she admired his dedication and creativity, qualities she found rare among her own kind. Together, they explored new possibilities, pushing the boundaries of what music could achieve. Each session left them more connected, their partnership evolving into something deeper than mere collaboration. Yet even as their bond strengthened, the world around them grew increasingly hostile. Silra appeared troubled after one particularly rapturous performance. "What's wrong?" Ethan asked, concern etched on his face. She hesitated, then confessed, "Our union violates the accord. My kind believes outsiders corrupt our purity." Ethan frowned. "But look what we've achieved. We've brought people, beings, together." Silra sighed. "Not everyone sees it that way. To some, your influence threatens our way of life." Despite her warnings, Ethan refused to back down. If our music has value, why should it be silenced? Determined, they agreed to perform one final piece, a culmination of all they'd created. This time, however, they invited representatives from every attending species to join them on stage. The message was clear: unity transcended boundaries. As the first notes rang out, anticipation crackled through the audience. Then came the interruption, a squad of armored guards storming the stage. The sudden intrusion shattered the harmony, sending shockwaves through the crowd. Guards seized Silra, dragging her away despite her protests. Ethan lunged forward, only to be restrained himself. "Stop," he shouted. "You don't understand." But the commander ignored him, barking orders in a guttural dialect. Panic surged through the crowd as others intervened, attempting to free the duo. In the confusion, Silra locked eyes with Ethan. "Trust me," she whispered, her voice barely audible. With a sudden burst of energy, she unleashed a high-pitched note that shattered the restraints holding her. Ethan stumbled backward, shielding his ears as the sonic wave rippled outward. Guards froze momentarily, stunned. Seizing the opportunity, Silra grabbed Ethan's hand and fled, disappearing into the labyrinthine corridors beneath the festival grounds. Heart pounding, they ran until exhaustion forced them to stop. Safe for now, they faced a daunting question: what next? Hidden in an abandoned chamber deep within the complex, Ethan and Silra caught their breath. Shadows danced across the walls, cast by dim emergency lights. "Why are they so afraid of us?" Ethan asked, breaking the silence. Silra leaned against the cool metal wall, her luminous features subdued. "Fear of change," she replied. "For centuries, my people have isolated themselves, believing our gifts set us apart. They fear losing control." Ethan shook his head. "That's insane. Music isn't about control. It's about connection." Silra smiled faintly. "Perhaps that's why they're scared." Outside, alarms blared, growing louder. Time was running out. Desperation fueled their resolve. "We need to finish the symphony," Ethan declared. "If we can broadcast it planet-wide, maybe we can show everyone the truth." Silra nodded, determination hardening her gaze. Together, they devised a plan, one fraught with peril, but worth the risk. As they worked, Ethan reflected on how much had changed since his arrival. What began as a journey of artistic exploration had transformed into a fight for acceptance and understanding. He thought about Earth, where divisions often seemed insurmountable. Could their music bridge gaps not just on Lysera 7 but across the galaxy? Silra, too, wrestled with conflicting emotions. She believed in their cause, but feared the consequences of defying her people. Still, the thought of abandoning their work was unthinkable. They pressed on, driven by hope and a shared vision of a better future. Using fragments of discarded tech scavenged from the underground tunnels, Ethan rigged a makeshift transmitter. Meanwhile, Silra used her abilities to amplify its range, channeling her resonance field into the device. Hours passed as they worked tirelessly, the thread of discovery looming over them. Finally, the setup was complete. "Ready?" Ethan asked, gripping the synthesizer tightly. Silra placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "As I'll ever be." Activating the transmitter, they launched into their magnum opus. The music poured forth, raw and unrestrained, carrying the weight of their struggles and hopes. Beyond the confines of their hideout, the signal spread, reaching every corner of Lysera 7. Listeners paused, captivated once more by the universal language of harmony. Slowly, barriers began to crumble, not just physical ones, but ideological divides long thought insurmountable. As the broadcast continued, reports flooded in. Conflicts ceased mid-battle as combatants paused to listen. Families reunited, tears streaming down their faces. Even the natural world responded, rivers changing course and flowers blooming in unexpected places. Ethan and Silra watched via hacked surveillance feeds, hearts swelling with pride. But their triumph was short-lived. Reinforcements closed in, determined to silence the transmission. "We can't stay here," Silra urged, scanning the monitors. "They'll find us." Ethan clenched his jaw. "Then we fight. Together." Armed with little more than courage and conviction, they prepared to confront their pursuers head-on. As footsteps echoed down the corridor, they stood side by side, ready to defend their vision of a united future. The confrontation unfolded in a blur of motion and sound. Guards stormed the chamber, weapons drawn. Without hesitation, Silra unleashed a cascade of resonant frequencies, creating a protective barrier around them. Ethan played furiously, his music bolstering her efforts. The combined force repelled attackers, sending them stumbling backward. Still, reinforcements kept coming. Just when hope seemed lost, allies emerged, fellow musicians and festival attendees who'd been inspired by their cause. United, they formed a defensive line, shielding Ethan and Silra as they continued broadcasting. The battle raged on, ebbing and flowing like the tides. Through sheer willpower, they held their ground, refusing to yield. And then, unexpectedly, the tide shifted decisively. A commanding voice boomed through the chaos. "Enough!" All eyes turned to the source, an elder of Silra's species, cloaked in robes that shimmered like starlight. Silence fell as the figure approached, surveying the scene with piercing clarity. "This madness ends now," the elder decreed. Ethan tensed, expecting condemnation. Instead, the elder addressed Silra. "You have defied tradition, child. But perhaps you have also shown us a path forward." Confusion rippled through the crowd. The elder gestured to the ongoing broadcast. "Let us hear your message fully." Relieved yet wary, Ethan and Silra resumed playing, pouring every ounce of passion into their performance. As the final notes faded, a collective hush enveloped the gathering. The elder nodded solemnly. "Change is inevitable. Perhaps it is time we embraced it." In the aftermath, reforms swept through Lysera 7. Laws restricting interspecies collaboration were repealed, paving the way for greater cultural exchange. Ethan and Silra became symbols of progress, their stories celebrated across the galaxy. Yet, personal challenges remained. Silra's decision to defy her people strained familial ties, leaving her grappling with feelings of guilt and isolation. Ethan, too, faced uncertainty about his future. Should he return to Earth or remain among the stars? During quiet moments, they found solace in each other's company, their bond strengthened by shared adversity. Together, they continued composing, exploring new horizons of creativity. Each piece served as a reminder of what they'd fought for and what still lay ahead. Their newfound fame brought opportunities, but also scrutiny. Critics questioned whether their success was sustainable, while supporters hailed them as pioneers. Amid the noise, Ethan and Silra focused on their craft, using their platform to advocate for unity and understanding. They traveled extensively, performing for audiences eager to experience the magic of their music firsthand. Along the way, they encountered diverse perspectives, each adding depth to their work. Though challenges persisted, their resolve never wavered. Together, they forged a legacy that transcended borders and beliefs. Months later, Ethan received an invitation to perform at another interstellar event. This time, however, the venue was Earth itself. Humanity, inspired by accounts of his journey, sought to bridge gaps with neighboring civilizations. Excited yet apprehensive, Ethan consulted Silra. "Will you come with me?" he asked. After a pause, she smiled. "Of course. Our work is far from done." Preparations commenced, culminating in a spectacular showcase attended by dignitaries from myriad worlds. As they took the stage, nerves gave way to exhilaration. Once again, their music transcended barriers, fostering understanding among diverse audiences. Applause thundered through the auditorium, echoing their triumph. The Earth performance marked a turning point. No longer seen as outsiders, Ethan and Silra were embraced as ambassadors of interstellar harmony. Their story inspired movements dedicated to peaceful coexistence, proving that art could be a catalyst for change. Yet even as they basked in their success, they remained grounded, aware of the work still needed to sustain progress. Their partnership evolved beyond professional collaboration, blossoming into something deeper. Love, forged in the crucible of adversity, bound them inexorably. Years passed, yet the legacy of Ethan and Silra endured. Statues commemorated their achievements, textbooks chronicled their contributions, and festivals honored their spirit. Yet true fulfillment came not from accolades but from knowing they'd made a difference. Standing atop a hill overlooking a bustling metropolis, they reflected on their journey. "Do you think we've done enough?" Ethan mused. Silra intertwined her fingers with his. "Enough isn't the goal. It's about continuing to try." Hand in hand, they gazed skyward, envisioning futures yet unwritten. And so, their saga continued, a testament to the transformative power of art, love, and unity. As the years unfolded, Ethan and Silra's influence continued to ripple across the galaxy. Their music became more than just a cultural phenomenon. It evolved into a universal language, transcending the barriers of species, ideology, and even biology. Entire planets adopted their compositions as anthems of unity, playing them during diplomatic summits, peace treaties, and interstellar celebrations. Yet, for all the accolades and admiration they received, Ethan often found himself reflecting on the quieter moments of their journey. One evening, as they sat together in a secluded garden aboard a starship en route to yet another performance, Ethan turned to Silra. "Do you ever miss it?" he asked softly. "The simplicity of before, when it was just us and the music?" Silra paused, her luminous eyes gazing at the stars streaking past the viewport. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but simplicity is fleeting. Growth demands complexity." She smiled faintly, her hand finding his. "Besides, we've created something far greater than either of us could have imagined. That's worth the challenges, isn't it?" Ethan nodded, though a part of him still yearned for the days when their collaboration had been driven purely by passion rather than expectation. He remembered the hours spent experimenting in the underground chamber on Lysera 7, the thrill of discovering new harmonies, and the unspoken understanding that had blossomed between them. Those moments had been raw, untainted by the weight of responsibility. Now, their every note carried the hopes of countless civilizations. It was a burden, but also a privilege, one they bore together. Despite their success, not everyone embraced their vision. On certain worlds, resistance lingered, fueled by fear and prejudice. Some viewed their music as a threat to tradition, while others dismissed it as mere spectacle. Ethan and Silra encountered these skeptics frequently, often facing hostility during their performances. In one particularly tense incident, a group of protesters disrupted a concert on a remote mining colony, accusing them of promoting cultural contamination. The confrontation escalated until Silra stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. "Tell me," she said, her tone calm but commanding, "what is it you fear? That your identity will be erased? That your way of life will vanish?" She gestured to the crowd, her bioluminescent markings glowing softly. "Our music does not seek to destroy. It seeks to connect, to remind us that we are all part of something greater." Her words resonated deeply, silencing the dissenters and earning applause from the audience. Moments like these reinforce their belief in the power of art to heal divisions, even in the face of entrenched opposition. Still, the constant pushback took its toll. There were nights when Ethan lay awake, questioning whether they were making a difference or simply preaching to the converted. Silra, too, wrestled with doubts, especially when she received messages from estranged family members urging her to abandon her reckless path. Yet each time despair threatened to take hold, they found solace in their shared purpose. Together, they reminded themselves why they had started this journey and why they couldn't afford to give up now. Their travels eventually led them to Earth, a place Ethan hadn't seen in years. Stepping off the ship, he felt a mixture of nostalgia and apprehension. The planet had changed since his departure. Skyscrapers reached higher, technology advanced further, and humanity seemed more united than ever. Yet beneath the surface, old tensions simmered, waiting to boil over. Ethan and Silra's arrival sparked widespread excitement, with fans and media clamoring for interviews and appearances. But amidst the fanfare, they sought out quieter spaces, reconnecting with the essence of what had inspired them in the first place. During one such visit, they ventured to a secluded beach where Ethan had spent much of his childhood. The waves crashed against the shore, their rhythm steady and eternal. Sitting side by side, they listened to the symphony of nature, the wind whispering through the dunes, the cries of distant seabirds, the gentle lapping of water against sand. It was here that Ethan realized the true universality of music. "It's everywhere," he murmured. "Not just in instruments or voices, but in everything around us." Silra nodded, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "Your people have always understood that, even if they didn't realize it. Your history is filled with stories of music bridging divides, healing wounds, and inspiring hope. Perhaps that's why I was drawn to you, not just because of your talent, but because of your potential to remind others of what they already know." Back on the festival circuit, Ethan and Silra continued to innovate, pushing the boundaries of what their music could achieve. They collaborated with artists from every corner of the galaxy, incorporating new sounds and techniques into their repertoire. One particularly memorable project involved working with a species of sentient plants whose leaves emitted melodies when exposed to sunlight. Another brought them to a world where music was experienced not through hearing but through touch, with vibrations resonating directly through the skin. Each collaboration deepened their appreciation for the diversity of existence, reinforcing their belief in the interconnectedness of all life. Yet, even as their artistry flourished, personal challenges persisted. Silra struggled to reconcile her role as a cultural icon with her identity as an individual. The weight of expectation often left her feeling isolated, despite Ethan's unwavering support. Similarly, Ethan grappled with the pressure of representing humanity on such a grand stage. He worried about missteps, about failing to live up to the ideals he and Silra represented. These insecurities sometimes strained their relationship, leading to moments of tension and misunderstanding. Through it all, however, their bond remained unbreakable. They leaned on each other during difficult times, drawing strength from their shared experiences. Love became their anchor, grounding them amidst the whirlwind of fame and responsibility. It wasn't always easy, but it was real, a testament to the resilience of connection forged in adversity. Decades later, as they stood together on a mountaintop overlooking a sprawling cityscape illuminated by countless stars, Ethan and Silra reflected on their journey. "Do you think we've done enough?" Ethan asked, echoing a question he'd posed years earlier. This time, Silra's answer came without hesitation. "No," she said, her voice steady and sure. "And we never will. But that's the beauty of it. There's always more to create, more to learn, more to share." She turned to him, her eyes shimmering with emotion. "What we've built isn't just a legacy, it's a beginning. Others will carry the torch, adding their own voices to the harmony we've started. And maybe, someday, the entire galaxy will sing as one." Ethan smiled, feeling a profound sense of peace. They had faced unimaginable challenges, defied societal norms, and risked everything for their dream. Along the way, they had discovered not only the transformative power of music, but also the enduring strength of love. As they gazed skyward, hand in hand, they knew their story was far from over. For those who dared to listen, the melody of their journey played on, a timeless ode to courage, unity, and the boundless possibilities of the cosmos. If this tale of cosmic harmony resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe for more captivating stories that explore the infinite wonders of the universe.